Saturday morning, it is time to talk technology with our tech expert, Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group. Luis, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, my friend. It is a beautiful day, and I'm going to take advantage of being home for a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about the boat? Are you guys getting the boat out in the water yet, or are you still in the process? Okay, so you're out there sailing?
Yeah, I'm out there sailing. I'm going to probably go out there tomorrow.
Okay. Are there Sunday races?
Yep, the Sunday races, I actually missed. They had it last weekend when I was out of town. So we do those once a month, but there's also like different fleets. So usually every Sunday there's a fleet doing some race or another. Ours is called the One Design Fleet because we're all the same boat, which is how I prefer to sail, by the way, because some of the bigger boats are the handicap fleet. So you don't really know who won or lost until all the boats are in and you've figured the handicap for all the different size boats. But with us, if you come in first, you're going to stay first. So
nice.
It's a nice feeling.
Yeah. Alrighty. Hey, before we get to the main topic, I ran into, and last week we did a best of, but I ran into an interesting thing, a text that I received purportedly from Amazon a couple weeks ago. And the text referred to that a product that I had purchased in March had a safety issue and that it needed to be returned, and I needed to click on a link in order to expedite the process to not only return the item, but also secure my refund. And I looked at what supposedly was the URL. It looked like it said Amazon, but it actually wasn't. There was a letter missing in the URL. I knew it was a scam because, number one, I hadn't purchased, whatever I purchased from Amazon in March, there would have been no safety issues with the item whatsoever. And so I thought, this is an interesting new scam to separate people from their money. But now here was the other thing that was really, really interesting about this. I went back through my text looking for this scam text. It was no longer there. And I didn't erase it. I made a point to keep it.
Interesting.
So this is a new level of sophistication. If they don't get a click from you within a certain amount of time on it, they can recall the message and it disappears from your inbox in your messages on your iPhone. How about that?
That is pretty sophisticated. I had not heard about that. I'm going to have to dig into it and see how they do it, but it doesn't surprise me. We're going to talk about AI here in a second, but with AI, you can do so many more things because you no longer are limited by what you can program or how you can do things. It's all now just a matter of talking to a generative AI engine and saying, hey, how do I send a text and recall it if it's not open within, or nobody clicks on a link within 24 hours? And it'll tell you how to do it exactly.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
That is. Well, let's dive into the main topic today. And what is Mythos? It is Anthropic's unreleased AI model. And how worried should we be? What exactly is this unreleased AI model and what are the concerns?
Yeah, so Anthropic is an AI company and they make the most common one that everybody knows is Claude, right? So Claude is their version of ChatGPT or Gemini, and it's very popular. In fact, Anthropic is infamous right now for having refused to let the Pentagon use their AI engine for things that they considered to be unethical. And so they've been banned from the federal government, but they've sued and that's going through its paces. But nevertheless, Anthropic is known for creating different AI models that are capable of focusing on certain areas. So they created a new one called Mythos that was supposed to be a cybersecurity expert. So the idea is that you create this agent that you embed all the skills and capabilities of the most sophisticated cybersecurity engineer known to man, and you let it loose. The problem is that when they were doing their testing, this new Mythos, as they called it, this new AI engine was able to detect vulnerabilities in what most companies consider to be secure applications. They did it at such an alarming rate that Anthropic decided not to release the engine to the public, and instead they've released it internally to these large companies like Google and Apple, Meta, and Microsoft to let them have a period of time, I think it's like 3 months, where they're going to be testing all of their software using this engine, because once it's released in the wild and it's available to hackers and cyber criminals, then they can find these vulnerabilities. So the idea is to let these big companies use the tool internally to find these vulnerabilities and patch them before before it's released to the public, if it ever gets released to the public.
Yeah, because I guess they've deemed their system, it's been deemed by OpenAI to be too dangerous for the public at this point, which is really scary.
Yeah, it is. And that's the problem that I think we're going to start seeing more and more of with these newer models of AI that are being built not just on, this isn't necessarily just a software thing, but it's the new hardware that's available now. The new NVIDIA GPUs are much more powerful. They're like 10 times more powerful than the originals. So that means that they can compute faster, they can do things faster, and that enables AI engines like Mythos to do things that they couldn't do before. And we're going to start seeing that not just in cybersecurity, but basically in all walks of life. And, it's going to start impacting, I think, a lot of careers. We've talked about this many times on this show, but AI is starting to creep into doing a lot of the work that people are going to college to learn to be entry-level clerks at law firms or paralegals or CPAs. And you're going to see AI be able to do a lot of that work, which means that these folks are going to have to find new careers. But, in this case, this cybersecurity tool, once it's released to the public, it'll be interesting to see how it's used and who uses it.
And of course, this is really, when you think about if something like this is deemed too dangerous to be released to the public, then there's a real genuine fear that this might pose some sort of existential threat to basically so many systems in our way of life. This is really like the mad scientist kind of thing. Like, what if a mad scientist gets hold of something like this and the James Bond villain come to life, basically, for world domination? Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Exactly. And there are newer models that are being developed for financial services, for example. So imagine an AI that can outperform the best broker or the best financial advisor. How is that going to shake up the stock market when AIs start controlling the stock trades?
Right.
So things like that are not in the too distant future.
I'd like an AI assistant to help me play the slots in Vegas.
I bet you that it's going to be a thing where at some point in the near future, casinos are going to start checking to see if you're using AI in any way to try to get an advantage in the card tables or in the dice games.
I remember an old joke that Rodney Dangerfield had about playing the slots in Vegas, and he was bemoaning the fact that he was getting old, and he said, he put the money in the slot machine and pulled the lever, and it came up 3 prunes. I couldn't believe it.
Rodney Dangerfield.
All righty. There you have Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us today on Power Talk Radio. Online, it is alvareztg.com, at alvareztg. There is the X handle for you. And Luis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
And as we look ahead to Monday, we're going to be talking about DoD drones and Starlink.
Yep, and how that might be a problem for the Pentagon. But tune in to learn more.
Thank you, Luis. Have a great weekend. We'll talk again Monday.
Take care, my friend.